This might be a little bit controversial, and I am not talking about having my Christmas tree up in November, but has anyone been watching Married at First Sight UK? Especially if you're neurodivergent, have you been watching it? I am not usually one for watching reality TV, but I love to learn about how people think and how they feel, so watching MAFS has been really interesting to me. My neurodivergent radar has been going off. There are a few people in Married at First Sight that I believe are autistic, at least 2 people. I'm not going to say the names because I don't want to, don't want to put that on them if that's not something they've even considered. So I'm not going to say the names for that reason. The reason I am bringing this up is because I have noticed from watching it, it highlights the differences in communication between neurodivergent and neurotypical people. I think that, although I may be wrong about this, at least 2 people are potentially autistic. What I'm noticing from watching MAFS is the lack of understanding for autism and for neurodiversity in general. I am not saying that anyone's doing this on purpose. I don't even think that the people who are potentially neurodivergent realise it themselves. And when you're watching that, as from a neurodivergent point of view, it's glaringly obvious. I can see so many of my own traits in them, and it's not my place to say, oh, they're neurodivergent. I think it really highlights the struggles that neurodivergent people face in relationships, and also the struggles that neurotypical people face in relationships when one partner is neurodivergent and one is neurotypical. So this is not about blaming anyone whatsoever. It's just, I can absolutely relate to the neurodivergent need for clarity and understanding, and the fact that the people in the show who are potentially autistic, they need to ask a lot of questions. They need to kind of put their side across. There's a lot of need for that justice sensitivity that comes into it massively, and they are being seen as difficult, which I think can be a common misconception of people who are neurodivergent. When I've seen comments written about these people online, they tend to be very similar, along the lines of, oh, they're hard work, they're difficult, oh, they're this, they're that. And I can see from those comments that those people who've commented have probably got no idea that that person is potentially autistic. As I said, the person themselves probably has no idea either. I don't know whether the experts on the show are potentially realising that they could be neurodivergent, or that would all depend on their own experience with neurodiversity. But what comes across as glaringly obvious is that there's still not much recognition of neurodiversity in the world. And don't get me wrong, I do think it is getting better, but by watching a show like that and seeing how much people are struggling on that show with regards to their feelings and emotions and the differences in communication, it's making it obvious that, yeah, I've got a neurodivergent radar. I'm sure you have if you're watching this and you're neurodivergent too, but most people don't have that. So most people don't recognise that, and this is not a criticism of anyone. You know, we're all different, and I think it just really highlights the differences of neurotypical and neurodivergent relationships, particularly if one partner is neurodivergent and one is neurotypical. There can be often extreme differences in how they communicate, which can lead to difficulties, really deep difficulties into that relationship. So my point of bringing this up was not to criticise anyone. It was just to kind of bring awareness to the differences in communication and to the fact that neurodiversity is still not it's not obvious to everyone, and these the general consensus of people, especially with autistic people, from members of the public who are not aware of neurodiversity, they just seem to imply that, oh, these people are being rude, or they're being awkward, or they're being difficult, and that is not the case. I think that autistic need for clarity and clear communication really comes across in this programme. We are not trying to be difficult. We just need to know why. We need to know why things are happening. We want to know why. We want to understand it so we can, for our own growth as well. And that's not difficult. That's just gaining information so we can function clearly. I just wanted to bring that up. Again, no disrespect to anyone. I think it's also difficult for the neurotypical partners. I'm not just saying it's only difficult for the neurodivergent partner. And I might be wrong about this. The people I'm thinking of, they may not be neurodivergent, but my radar is going off, and I'm sure yours is too if you've watched it. Thank you for watching. If you found value in this, please like and subscribe, and I will be back soon.